Please note that this content is targeted for solutions architects and SysOps administrators. If you're a developer, you may want to skip over this one.
And welcome back to Backspace Academy. In this lab, we're going to create two EC2 servers, one of them running the WordPress application and then another that'll be running the Magento application. Once we've done that and we've got those set up and running, we're going to put an application load balancer in front of those, and then we're going to put them inside of a target group and then implement path-based routing for requests that have to go to either that WordPress application or the Magento e-commerce application. Okay, so starting off now in the EC2 console, I'm just going to create these two instances. First one being for the WordPress application. So we just go into the AWS Marketplace and we'll just search for WordPress. And we'll just grab that Bitnami one there. We'll select the T2 micro and we'll give it a public IP address. And we'll leave storage as it is. We're going to add a tag just for the name of those instances. And we'll call this one WordPress. And we'll just create a new security group there. And we'll launch that. Okay, now we'll just launch our Magento server as well. So again, we go into the marketplace and just search for a Magento AMI. That one will be fine from Bitnami. And again, a T2 micro will be okay. We'll give this one a public IP address as well. And we'll give it a name as well. So name has to be with a capital N at the start as well. And a new security group will be fine, and we'll just launch that. After a certain amount of time, those instances will be up and running and have passed their status checks. So we'll just have a look at the Magento one, and if we go to the public IP address for that one and have a look at it, we can see there that we've got the Luma standard template for Magento there. So Magento is working fine. And we'll just check that the WordPress is working as well. So just go to the public IP address for that. And there is the WordPress front page. So everything seems to be working fine. So the next thing we'll do is that we will create targets for our load balancer. So we go into target groups. And we create a target group. So the first one we'll call WordPress. And we'll just leave that as it is and create that. And we'll create another target group. And that one, of course, will be Magento. And create that. So now that we have our target groups created, we need to add targets to them. So we'll go to the Magento one and we just click on the Targets tab and we edit that. And then we can select our Magento target there, or our Magento instance. And we can add to registered. And there it is up the top there. And then we just click on Save. And we do the same for WordPress. So we select the WordPress target or target group. We click on Edit. And again, we select the WordPress instance, we add to registered, and it comes up the top there and we save that. So now when we look at our WordPress target group, we can see that there is actually a target in there, which is our WordPress instance. And the same with our Magento, we can see there that we've got that Magento instance there. So we have our target group set up, and we also have our targets inside that being the relevant instances. Now what we can do is start creating our load balancer. So we click on load balancers and create load balancer. Now we have the three options there. So we've got our application, our network, and our classic load balancer. Of course, we're selecting here application load balancer. And we'll call this one blog. We'll be fine. And we'll just leave it with a port 80 listener. And our availability zones, we'll select all of the availability zones. Even though we've only got instances in one availability zone, we'll select all of them, and the Elastic Load Balancer will look after that for us. You just click on Configure Security Settings and Configure Security Groups. We'll create a new security group, and we'll leave that as it is. So now we've got to configure our default route for the Elastic Load Balancer. So when requests come in and there is no actual rule for that particular request, by default they will go to this actual route. So we want them to, by default, if there's no other rule, we would like it to go to our WordPress site. And so we'll just do there, existing target group WordPress, and that will be fine. And register targets, and we can see we've already got an instance there that we've registered before with that target group anyway. We review, and then we can create. So now we've created our load balancer, and we've got a default route so that when something comes through, it can go straight through to that WordPress site, but we haven't got it set up to handle requests to our store, to our Magento site. So what we've got to do is we've got to do that. So what we need to do is we select our Elastic Load Balancer, we click on the Listeners tab, and we go to our existing listener that we've got there, and we need to view edit rules, because we can see there we've got our default, which is forwarding to WordPress. So now we need to view edit rules and add another rule for that. So we click on add rule and insert rule. We select path, and the first path will be, we'll call it store. And that forwards to Magento, and we'll save that. Now we need to do another rule, which is for everything below store. So again, we select path, and we do store, and then we do / and then the wildcard symbol. And that again will forward to Magento. So anything that has store in its path will get forwarded through to our Magento site. So that's fine. Now we can go back to our load balancer. And what we can do now is that we can go to the DNS name for our load balancer, and we should see our WordPress site. And there we have our WordPress site, as we would expect. So now we need to do is put our path for store and see what happens. Okay, so it's directed to our Magento site. We can see there we've got the Luma template for Magento. It has said that it cannot find that actual page, and the reason for that is that the URL for the homepage that is set up in the Magento software will not be the same as what we've got here. So if you're going to do this for real, you would go back into your Magento software and make sure that the homepage setting for Magento will be the same as what you've got up here. So that brings us to an end. What we'll do now is we'll go through and delete everything to make sure that we don't get a nasty bill at the end of the month. Now the first thing we need to do is to first off delete our load balancer. So we go Actions, Delete. And that's gone. Now we need to delete our target groups. So we'll select our target groups there and we'll delete those as well. And they're gone. And then once we've done that, we can then delete our instances or terminate our instances. So we just select both of those and we'll terminate both of those instances. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this lab. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.